Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Today is going to be a busy day for videos. I'm more than likely going to put up 3 videos today. And that's because there's so much information that has to get out. It's just crazy. I've been researching like nutso. So this first video is just going to be, well, actually all 3 videos are just going to be things that I have just been compiling and compiling and compiling of things that you need to know about. Okay, so the first video that you're going to see is actually from Ireland. All right, the people of Ireland are going to be voting for their freedom. Okay, and I just want you to take note of what's really going on, because for so long they lived under a dictatorship, under a regime like we did. Okay, so take a watch. Now this needs attention, okay? And in my next 2 videos as well, I'm also going to be talking about something that pertains to this as well, okay? Hurricane Helene, okay? The victims. They're getting information just like we are about what's going on with FEMA's future plans in the western North Carolina area. And this is just proof. It's more proof of what we've been talking about, what we've been suspecting, okay? But our suspicions now have proof. Okay. It's proof of a land grab. And everyone needs to understand what's happening here. Okay. This is insane. This is absurd. This should have never even happened. But yet here we are. And it's exactly what we all thought was going to happen. But it's almost like, well, you really don't want to talk about something like this, because then if it's not true, then we're all going to look like jackasses and stuff like that. But it was kind of like, well, it can't be anything other than that, right? It's a total land grab. It totally, truly, truly is. So anyway, okay, so here's this one.
Hey friends, Stephanie here, and today I wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on here. I don't even know. What are we, November 9th, 10th? It's been a long time. We just finished up week 6 post-Hurricane Helene. The mountains are starting to behave like we're used to for the first time in, 40-something days since the hurricane. We didn't have rain until last night, or early this morning was the first actual rain. We've had misty days up here, and I'm in the Marshall, North Carolina area, but not rain, which is unheard of because we live in a temperate rainforest. So that's really great because the dust was a problem. And I know a lot of people, we've had weird illnesses run through the house, not contagious illnesses either, like just weird things. And then I know of a lot of people who are sick and have weird things going on. Even the person that helps me with the sheds. Today I got the message we were going to deliver some sheds today, and he's been fighting something for over 3 weeks. And yeah, so there's just funky things going on. But I want to give you guys an update on something really, really important. A couple of things. I really want to talk about a couple of things. I noticed, and when I edited my last video, the audio was fine, but when it uploaded to YouTube, it went crazy wonky. So I apologize for that. So I'm just going to quickly touch on what I said there. A lot of it's just opinion-based stuff, but I do want to share what I was trying to share there. And then I want to give you guys an update on the sheds, where we're at. And then I want to give you guys an update on what's happening with the land, because we've gotten official news on what is going on with the land and how that's going to be handled. And this is what the beautiful mountains are supposed to look like in the fall. We've got a nice leaf bed. I'm actually out here because I'm going to put a couple of fruit trees up. This is a pear tree right here, and I want to put another pear and an apple out here. So I was just walking around, grounding, just trying to, enjoy what we've missed. It's been disheartening to not have the mountains behave like we're used to, like the mountains are supposed to behave. This weather also means mushrooms are coming, because the mushrooms need the wet and the cool. The shiitakes need the wet and the cool to produce. So that is exciting that we should have mushrooms in the next few days. Food is so important, and let me tell you why. All right, so this is, I'm gonna have a wet butt. This is the back part of our property. This is where I plan to put our goats in the spring. So super excited about that. I also want a little donkey for a guard donkey, right? But what I was saying on that video, let me start first by saying what we have found out is going to happen with the land. So I shared in one of my videos that there are FEMA facilities going up, and everybody's been a little bit concerned, like, what is the point of these? There's video footage. They're all set up. They have these tornado shelters. They've got these massive trailer housing systems that someone told me only one person can stay in per trailer, so it's very wasteful actually. And that particular organization has said they weren't a part of the housing side. Now we have gotten information that FEMA has announced the new plan to use acquisition, elevation, or mitigation. Okay. They have come out and said that there's going to be those 3 options Now, I don't know if you have to do those, but what's going to happen is through this process, there will be rezoning. And because they have the right to rezone, from my understanding, drop in the comments if I'm not correct on that, that is going to affect everybody, even if you don't go this route with them. So the buyout was listed that, will come in and buy the land based on 100-year flood. I forget their exact wording, but it's based on the new 100-year flood baseline zoning. So I looked up what the 100-year flood baseline zoning is, and basically they go in and determine if there's a 1% chance of flooding in that area, then it qualifies under the new 100-year baseline zoning. Here's the problem. Everything that flooded obviously has a 1% chance because it already happened. So that could even go higher than what was already flooded if they determine that. And who knows what they're going to determine. But it would have to include everything that was touched by these floods if it's a 1% chance, because it's already happened. That percent happened, right? So that is an enormous amount of land. Some of these riverbanks were 6 feet and are now 40 feet wide. And the houses up the hill still flooded. Like, it just, the scope and the magnitude of the areas that were affected. We're talking, some areas I heard were 40-foot high floods, right? That's an enormous amount of land that now they are saying we can just buy out. Okay. And so the criteria for the buyout, the elevation, or the mitigation is that you're 2 feet above the new 100-year baseline flood zones. Some of these floods were 40 feet high in areas. They were 30 feet high in our area. Like, how do you build above that? That means enormous amounts of land are going to be considered unbuildable. Now, in our area, businesses are back up. Some buildings are completely gone. There's a neighborhood in our area where some houses are completely gone, and some were only had, like, they sat higher anyway, so that it only had 3 feet in them, and they're in the fixing phase. Like, they've been gutted. How it affects those areas, I'm not sure. Do you get grandfathered in? Is this going to mess with people's insurance? This happened in an area I grew up in, and my brother's home, I've shared before, was affected. He is not above that line, and so any new house that's ever built on that road he's on has to be above that new line that they deemed after this random flood that they had. He is not in that, but he owns his house outright, so he's not bound to having to have insurance because of a mortgage. So I don't know.
Now, with this, there's only one explanation. Okay, it's orchestrated, it's deliberate. FEMA employees, okay. And I know it's like, why do we have to keep talking about this? Why? Because I want you to put yourself in their shoes, okay? Because no one, and I mean absolutely no one, is immune to a natural disaster. Okay, because in one of my next videos, I'm going to be talking about what's going on in New York and Pennsylvania. You should see what's happening up there right now, okay? FEMA employees they better start putting in their job applications. That's all I'm going to say, okay? Because this man right here, he is spot on, no joke.
FEMA had gave all the money away to that they had to house refugee migrants, as they call them, gave them cell phones, money, spent, I think this year, over $600 million housing them. They spent $211 million to build them a welcome center. You know, if I was living in another country, I'd want to come here too. I don't blame, and I do not hate those people at all that's come here. God bless their heart for trying to get here. But our government should not have opened the doors and spent every penny we had to help people that's not our people. You know, the United Nations, if there's a disaster in another country, they'll come in and help clean that up and help those people. But they do not help. They do not help America, because America decided we would help our own people, and we have not been doing it. It's been American citizens, churches, and people coming from all over wanting to come here and work or send money or do what they can. But what happened is when the disaster hit and people saw that the Democratic Party spent all the money on migrants and there was no money to help our own people here, then look what happened with the election this time. People realized, oh, well, that probably was not a good idea. And Trump won by a landslide, and hopefully, you know, I'm not a Trumper, but I'm a Republican, and you know, there's things he has said and done that I'm not proud of, but he's not my pastor, he's my president, and you know, we're going to have to figure out, you know, I don't know, you're going to start seeing it in January. People froze to death here. It's going to be terrible, and just pray for them. Everybody can't send money to help, but pray. And in churches out there, I've seen so many churches coming and helping with people's homes, trying to get them rewired or cleaned out and different things. If it was not for the church organizations, the small group people actually helping here, there would be nothing going on. I can show you video after video where volunteers has come, but I can't show you nothing that FEMA's done except clean up trees. What the heck is wrong? Can we become a foreign nation here? These 27 counties that's been in Western North Carolina that's been declared a disaster area, can we declare them a foreign country so that the UN can come in and help these people? It's going to be too late by the time President Trump takes office and comes in and without a doubt will fire everybody at FEMA. If you work at FEMA, you better be putting some applications in, because it's going to be disbanded or everybody's going to be fired. New people's going to come in that really care about the people here, the American citizens, and not foreigners and not trees. I'm John Ward with Appalachian Channel. God bless you. See you on the next video.
Okay, so they're living in tents, right? They're living in tents. It's bitter cold. Bitter cold, okay? Like right now here in Florida, it's 50 degrees out, okay? And I have a hoodie on, I have sweatpants on, I have my fuzzy socks on, and I'm like, oh dear God, you know what I mean? But they're living in tents. They're still living in tents. Why? Why not just give them a voucher for, I mean, like, if someone, like, say, like, their house, unfortunately, were to catch fire, okay, FEMA or Red Cross, they'll swoop in and they'll say, here's a voucher to go stay in a hotel for a week until, you know, things can get sorted out with your homeowner's insurance policy or whatever the hell may have you, okay? Why can't we just do that for them? Why can't they just step up to the plate and say, you know what, if it were me, I would not want to be staying in a tent with 5 feet of snow around me. But no, they're not even doing that. So they're being forced to sleep 5 people in each tent. 5 people in a tent. Can you imagine? They're running out of firewood, and they're cold for most of the night. Imagine being so cold you can't even light a fire. You can't even do that because you don't even have firewood. You don't have a body heater. You're relying on each other's body heat to stay warm. And this administration, this regime that we are living under currently still, you know, they are currently preparing to send more money, $725 million. To where? Yeah, you guessed it. While these Hurricane Helene victims are freezing. They are freezing. And for what? Because that country, all the way over there, wherever the hell it may be, they're more important. They're more important than our own citizens. I'm trying not to get upset. I'm really trying not to get upset. But, you know, it's really hard not to get upset, because that could be me, it could be you, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be any one of us again and again and again and again, because hurricane season, it's a bitch, man. And today's the last day of hurricane season. But now look at what's going on in New York and Pennsylvania and anywhere else that it snows. Guess what? Guys could get a blizzard. You could be snowed the friggin'. Your roof could collapse and everything else. And if you don't know how to use a space heater correctly, especially the ones that use the oil, you know what I'm saying? And you know how when you use those space heaters that have the oil in them and you hear it pop, 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 pop? Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you hear me? Anything could go wrong at any moment, at any second. And yet, that country over there is more fucking important with sending $725 million more over to them and keeping Americans safe.
Hey everyone, it is November 25th, Monday. Laura and I are not at Chimney Rock today. We have traveled much farther into western North Carolina, where I told you there were people living in tents, right? We just got to this base camp. I have no idea what we're going to be doing here, but there are 5 people living in each tent. One of the girls told me that last night they ran out of firewood and they were cold for most of the night. So I promise you, I'm here. Spruce Pine, people are in tents. Please keep tagging, reposting, sharing, telling everybody what's going on in North Carolina.